A legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson, celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus Hyundai, home of the Kona electric vehicle, an electric heart with an SUV soul. Test drive yours today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm Loving It, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on primetime, the governor could lose new hospital complex site to missile defense. Nestor Lecanto has the story. Plus, local group Pratehi Litetsin is taking the U.S. Air Force to federal court. Tomas Manglutnia has all the details to lawsuit. And the island confirms 4 more COVID-related casualties, bringing the total to 280.
Hafa day and good evening, everyone. I'm Hannah Devonzo, and thanks for tuning in to your news leader. The governor plans to build a new hospital complex on military land in Manila may be in jeopardy. KUAM has confirmed that she may get trumped by the Missile Defense Agency, which is also eyeing Eagles Field as a site for a multi-million-dollar defense system. Nestor Lecanto reports.
Speaking exclusively on the Link Show, Joint Region Marianas Commander Rear Admiral Benjamin Nicholson said the Defense Department was open to the use of Eagles Field for a new hospital complex because it would also support military operations in and around Guam. He said DoD could also stipulate that certain features be built in. But things changed when the Missile Defense Agency got congressional funding for a Guam site.
Now that we have the money, now that we're exploring the sites, it could be that that site is really prime real estate and absolutely necessary for the missile defense system, in which case maybe the hospital wouldn't be built there. It would have to go somewhere else.
Meanwhile, Governor Leon Guerrero has said repeatedly that Eagles Field is her first choice for a new hospital. She also made it known that she has a license for the property, which her spokesperson clarified today is a license to assess the feasibility of the property for a medical campus. The Admiral made it clear that there's no agreement to build anything there right now.
There was license to explore if it was a good location. So just as we're letting the Missile Defense Agency look at that area to see if it would be good for missile defense, we're allowing the government of Guam to look at that area to see if it would be potentially good for a hospital.
And while he says no decision has been made, he makes a strong case for the property's use as a missile defense system site.
Quite honestly, that land that we're talking about, when you look at where it is, north-south wise, it's very central in the island. East-west wise, it's more towards the east, which the DoD doesn't have a lot of properties on the eastern portion of the island. It's on some higher ground. So all of those things make it very attractive for a missile defense system. So I think we need to slow down a little bit. We need to let the evaluations play out before there's any permanent decisions made on what we would do with that particular parcel of land.
Adloop Communications Director Crystal Paco San Augustine said if the determination is made by the governor's task force that it is not an appropriate site, they are assessing other property. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Pratehi Litetsin is taking the U.S. Air Force to federal court. National environmental law organization Earth Justice is backing the lawsuit, which challenges the U.S. Air Force failure to comply with the National Environmental Policy Act for open burning and open detonation on ancestral lands at Andersen Air Force Base. Tomas Manglutnia reports.
With the action we filed today, these are open burning, open detonation activities that spread contaminants in the environment, including posing potential threat to the northern aquifer that provides water to 80 to 90% of the people on Guam.
Pratehi Litetsin Save Ritidian is waging a legal battle in federal court. They say the U.S. Air Force failed to comply with the National Environmental Policy Act. At issue, they say the Air Force failed to consider environmental and cultural impact before it applied for a hazardous waste management facility permit for open burn, open detonation on Taragi Beach at Andersen Air Force Base.
It is simply unacceptable for our military to take these types of reckless actions when there are safer alternatives available to threaten the very people that they're sworn to protect.
The Air Force submitted their application last May. Local residents, including those at Earth Justice, reached out to them with concerns in November. It's been radio silent. The plaintiffs note that no open burning has occurred in the past 2 decades. They want a more thorough environmental review, more meaningful public engagement, and more consideration for safer ways. For Maneca Flores, the urgency is rooted in family relations to the land. Her great-grandfather farmed pigs and copra in Taragi before the war and before most of that land was taken by the government.
To see the land that was taken from our family for reasons of security now being used, for recreational use, but moreover being used for these harmful practices that will forever contaminate our drinking water, that will impact our fishing practices, that will impact the practices of us cultivating traditional medicines.
They say the impacts could be irreversible amid hopes of a return to sacred ancestral lands.
Open burn is a practice that is prohibited, and the US EPA has made an exception for particular practices of the military that are permitted. And so this is the way that they're proposing to do it is extremely antiquated and dangerous. And they haven't, as David said, they haven't considered any of the alternatives, including no alternative.
And before news of the filing, JRM Commander Rear Admiral Benjamin Nicholson said he'll comment on the permit at a later time.
I would rather come and circle back with you on that one because I just don't have a lot of the details with me right now.
Meanwhile, Guam EPA PIO Nick Lee told KUAM the agency has not issued a notice of decision for the open burn, open detonation permit. We continue to consult with our counterparts with US EPA, and the application remains under review. Tomas Manglotnya for KUAM News.
Deliberations continue today on a bill to adopt the implementation plan for Guam World War II claims. The measure establishes an adjudication committee that will have final approval over the claims, which will then be administered by the Department of Administration. The bill sets aside $10 million from the general fund to pay the estimated 700 claimants who missed the federal war claim program filing deadline. Senators voted down an amendment to use fiscal year excess revenues over collections as a funding source. Senator Joanne Brown.
Who are now going to resolve the issue and take away the burden of the pain that's been inflicted upon our people, because we're here doing some real heavy lifting here by taking money out of our people's pockets and giving it back to them. This is a federal obligation. We should connect it to a federal source of funding. Because really, is this what this whole issue of reparations is about? The victims are paying themselves?
An amendment was passed that mandates that the money comes from fiscal year 2022 excess revenues over projections, and that it also comes specifically from Section 30 funds. Priority payments will be made to the claimant who missed the deadline, followed by family members of those who died before the deadline. Other amendments by Speaker Therese Terlahi were passed down to ensure easier claim filings and confidentiality of documents. While Guam continues to record triple-digit COVID-19 positives, the Joint Information Center reported Monday evening 4 more COVID-related fatalities. The 277th COVID death was a 98-year-old man, partially vaccinated, who succumbed to the virus at GMH on January 22. He tested positive on January 19th. The 278th COVID-related death was a vaccinated 96-year-old woman who died at GRMC on January 22nd. She tested positive on January 21st. The 279th was an unvaccinated 84-year-old man who was pronounced dead on arrival at GRMC on January 23rd. He tested positive the same day. And the 280th was an unvaccinated 86-year-old woman who passed away at GRMC on January 24th. She tested positive on January 5. All 4 had underlying health conditions. Also noted in the JIC release was that on Sunday, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero signed an Executive Order 2022-02 relative to extending the public health emergency effective January 31st. The public health emergency declaration is now scheduled to expire on March 2. With more and more residents testing positive for COVID-19, along with limited test kits available on island, the Department of Public Health and Social Services decided to update its quarantine and isolation guidelines. Here's more.
You may remember the flowchart that Public Health released more than a couple weeks ago, detailing what residents should do if they catch COVID. As of Monday, some changes have been made to reflect the ongoing situation, explained by COVID-19 Emergency Incident Commander Fernando Esteves.
The change that we're going to be making is removing the recommendation to test at day 5 if you're a close contact, as well as removing the recommendation to quarantine if you're a close contact and fully vaccinated. So if somebody's fully vaccinated or boosted and they're a close contact, they can go about their regular day. No testing required and no quarantine required or recommended in that situation.
Esteves added that the testing demand are mainly those who need to return to work, as they are required to show a negative COVID test if they are close contact or tested positive before. Due to this, public health reports that there are residents who get tested 2 to 3 times a week.
And what that means is, with the current situation and transmissibility of Omicron, what we're seeing as an example, if somebody were to test positive or be a close contact in one of your radio stations, then there may be the requirement that everybody who works there gets tested before returning to work. Now, what this does is it puts a tremendous burden on our supplies to try to maintain the operations and keep things open. And so for now, because the supplies are not there, we're just going to focus on our primary effort, which is preventing the overwhelming of our hospitals at this time.
It was also during yesterday's briefing that Esteves spoke out in regards to those lining up to get tested.
We hope that people are going to be honest when they come to get tested, whether they have an appointment or try to walk in. And if they're dishonest about whether or not they're symptomatic, shame on them. I'll just say it, shame on them, because they'll be taken away from somebody who may actually need that test in order to be identified and may need to get treatment.
KUAM reached out to Public Health today and received confirmation that they are making changes to the flowchart to update it to reflect what was announced Monday. Public Health hopes to get the updated version out before or by tomorrow. Daniel Perez reporting for Guam's News Network.
Public Health is working on updating their guidance to include how the new strategy for testing will affect residents and students who need a negative COVID test for clearance to return to work or school. The issue of residents not getting the results in a timely manner from the Tizan testing site has been resolved, according to COVID-19 Emergency Incident Commander Fernando Esteves. Although the issue has been fixed, he added that there are multiple reasons as to why some residents still aren't receiving their test results.
One, illegible handwriting. So it's either it's not written correctly or it's not read correctly. Could be some typos when they register for simple report, whether they use slashes or dashes for their birthday, as an example, when they're putting in to try to retrieve their results. Another thing that we've seen too is that when people register, they don't check the block to opt for the digital reporting. And then yes, there is a portion where the results, and these are the negatives, are not provided or forwarded to the notifiers. And that issue has been addressed.
There is an ongoing issue with Simple Report, wherein those who are registered to the app will receive a link to the results of their test, even though the samples hasn't been tested yet. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention is currently addressing this issue, which is happening nationwide. Esteves would like to remind residents that when going to get tested, to look over the forms carefully and make sure that all information is inputted correctly. For those filling out the forms at the testing site, Public Health advises to take your time reading it and to write neatly and legibly. The Guam Department of Education is itching closer to swabbing not only employees but also students for COVID-19. It was a requirement set by the governor in October to have students and unvaccinated school employees submit to COVID screening testing. All schools island-wide are required to at least test 10% of the student population bi-weekly. So far, all 13 Guam Catholic schools have already started COVID screening on students. GDOE Superintendent John Fernandez gave media outlets an update on how the island's largest public school system is preparing for that extra COVID safety precaution during a recent press briefing.
What we want to do at this point is expand our testing, ensure that we have the testing authority to test employees and students, as a designated testing site. Because of all the requirements to test at this stage, it would be less disruptive for us to be able to test, at the school site. In order for us to do that, we're going to need to ensure that we have that capacity. We just talked about nurses, probably, of course, would be your first thought, but because of everything that they're doing, we're looking at the possibility of training additional staff to be able to support and assist with any testing that goes on at the school site.
GDOE is working with the Department of Public Health and Social Services to determine how many test kits will be allotted for that purpose. There's no set timeline as to when GDOE will begin testing students for COVID. And once again, we invite you to voice your view across our social media pages with our daily question. Today we are asking, what are your thoughts on the new government testing strategy prioritizing high-risk contacts and those with symptoms? We'll share responses on the link. Stick around for more news here. You're watching Primetime.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
It's beautiful.
It is, right, baby?
Dad, isn't that where we usually stop for gas?
It's where we used to stop, but not anymore.
But isn't that the place with the milkshakes?
Okay, all right, let's go.
Good job, kids.
Take your adventure further in the first ever Santa Fe Hybrid.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa, you can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Let us know what's up on our KUAM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the CNMI, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
Could the end of shipping adult roosters to Guam be near? Wayne Pissell of Animal Wellness Action in a press conference today saying he had begun dialogue with Agriculture Director Chelsea Muna Brecht relative to refining the important permit process for roosters so it aligns more with federal law. Muna Brecht confirmed with KUAM the talks with AWA are taking place, and she added that one refinement could be if an individual is bringing in large numbers of poultry for sale, then we would like to have them provide copies of either a bona fide certificate or business license. Pissell has accused GovGuam of enabling cockfighting, which is illegal under federal law but not local law. He cited that the shipment of thousands of roosters to the island, noting that these birds were coming from known cockfighters and their associations. He also said AWA has been in contact with the Postal Service Investigative and Enforcement Branch about shipments of roosters to Guam and other areas. The Mayor's Council of Guam has scheduled resuming the removal of abandoned vehicles across the island in a couple of weeks. At Tuesday's island-wide beautification task force meeting, Stephanie Flores of Guam State Clearinghouse states, on the second week of February, the MCOG will be issuing out purchase orders for abandoned vehicles. However, Guam Environmental Protection Agency Deputy Administrator Michelle Latsamosa told members of IBTF that mayors owe vendors thousands of dollars for the abandoned vehicle cleanup project.
A couple of the bigger collection facilities for the abandoned vehicles, and they were concerned that they still had outstanding payments from FY21 as far back as April of 2021 submitted. And so we followed up with DOA, and there was no outstanding invoices to be paid to those vendors. But some of those vendors claim that some of them are need to be paid over $100,000.
Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio, who chairs the IBTF, recommended that Latsamosa should have Guam EPA gather a list of all the invoices and submit it to the Department of Administration so that DOA will reconcile with the MCOG. Over 500 abandoned vehicles were identified and cleaned up in 2021 as a result of the project. Meanwhile, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero has also identified some additional funding from the American Rescue Plan to jumpstart abandoned vehicle collections, in line to formalize and initiate an intergovernmental task force on both the abandoned vehicles and the derelict buildings. Incumbent Senator Joe San Agustin is the latest sitting senator to pick up candidate papers from the Guam Election Commission. Legislative packets were also requested for Republican Senator Jim Moylan and Democrat Senator Talina Nelson. Nelson also picked up a packet for Guam delegate. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio are the only gubernatorial team to pick up a packet so far. Republican candidate Vince Borja, Sandra So, Don Aquilani, and Jess Lujan picked up GOP senatorial packets. Republican Peter Santos picked up a delegate to Congress packet. Dwayne San Nicolas, Ken Leon Guerrero, Roy Gamboa, and Diamantino Consacao picked up senatorial packets without declaring a party affiliation. Democrats Roy A.B. Canada, Mikana Adui, Alessandro Gay, Dave Duenas, and Fred Bordalio Jr. signed for senatorial packets. You can register to vote online and view candidate sign-out logs and other election-related information at gec.guam.gov. Galleria by DFS is celebrating the Lunar New Year with exclusive offers, in-store activations, and interactive online fun. In welcoming the Year of the Tiger, customers can visit select DFS airport or download Galleria locations or go online at dfs.com. From now until February 28th, customers can shop for select products, beauty, fragrances, fashion, accessories, watches, jewelries, wines and spirits, and many more. For those looking for something specific, you can join the Lunar New Year live stream event from January 26th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. for special offers. Galleria will also be having in-store activities for customers to experience local traditions, such as the lion dance and special treats to be given on February 1st. Stay with us. Coming up next on KUAM News Sports with Dave Delgado, and still to come, the Cold Stone Creamery birthday shoutouts.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Buenas and half a day. Part of taking care of yourself is participating in cancer screening. Make it a point to see your doctor at least once a year for an annual visit to discuss your risk and to determine which tests are right for you. Many tests are free or covered by insurance, and there may be programs to help those who don't have insurance. Cancer screening can save your life. There are screening tests that can catch cancer early when it may be easier to treat. So learn more at cancer.org/getscreened.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
We're here with Marvin Linder, ESA League president. Marvin, can you just give us the latest with everything going on with the ESA Sports League?
Yeah, what we did, we had to postpone the startup of sports until this Saturday. We had a lot of teams that had close contact and a few athletes that tested positive with all the increase in COVID going around. So we decided to postpone it 1 week. It's constantly changing. I mean, everything is happening. There's so many cases out there that we're trying to handle it as best we can. Our protocols are still working. It's just the fact that, the schools and the kids there's so many cases out there that there's a lot of close contact. There's more close contact than there are cases. And so we decided to postpone it 1 week. We're set to start Saturday. We also implemented plans in case something happens and the kids can't play. We're meeting today, matter of fact, to discuss the shortage of testing for the athletes that are not fully vaccinated. And once we get that, I'm gonna get with the ESA admin and find out about the test kits and how short we are and what's the status, because that's another obstacle we have to take care of and tackle.
And let's talk about some of the sports that will be happening on Saturday.
Saturday starts with paddling, wrestling, and girls and boys basketball. Then softball will start Monday, and tennis and soccer will start also that following week.
Anything new with crowds and fans in attendance?
We did decide to have no spectators like we did last year. This time last year when we first started sports, you know how we had no spectators, but we allowed two people to come in per team to live stream so the parents can watch. And we're going to implement that also because we want to make sure that the kids can play. And that's the most important thing, is that kids get to compete and it's safe. So we're gonna have no spectators until further notice. For the start of our next block, we're gonna have no spectators. And the middle school is following suit after this week. They're finishing up their last week of sports, but they are also having no spectators. So we're in line with them.
Anything else you want to add before I let you go?
Just that I want the parents to be patient with us because and remember, this is for the kids. We're trying to get them out in the sports, have them perform and compete, because I think it helps them a lot in this situation we're in, and being not being able to do much outside of the school. It makes it helps them not just physically but mentally too. So we want to have the sports. We want to make sure the kids compete, and we want to make sure they compete in a safe environment. So I just ask the parents to be patient with us. We'll do the best we can.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Building on the past, we at Docomo Pacific Business believe in helping businesses move forward and together, changing the way we get things done to make you and your company reach your highest potential. Trust in our commitment to bring you the best solutions for all your business goals. We are Docomo Pacific Business. Let's work better together.
Pizza Hut's stuffed crust is the crust that made crust good, topped and stuffed with over a half-pound of cheese. What are you so afraid of? Loving it? Original stuffed crust, only from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Half a day.
Hi.
That will be $20, please.
I forgot my Mobile Smiles Driver's Rewards card.
No worries. You can now use your registered mobile number to earn points.
Can I use my mobile number to redeem rewards?
Sure. Just show us your photo ID or driver's license.
That's easy.
Welcome back. Giving Every Tuesday highlights individuals, businesses, and organizations who are giving back and spreading kindness with simple gestures. Tonight, we take a look at a new small business that is raising funds to help beautify the village of Manilao.
Never Give Up Lifestyle is veteran-operated and is inspired by family and the island of Guam. Owner Josh Delgado comes from a big family that always believed in helping others and their community. Nate Delgado, who is one of his siblings, explains the meaning behind Never Give Up.
Never give up is not just a word we use to motivate ourselves. It is the drive and passion to never give up on faith, hope, love, and life. Never give up is not a brand. It is a lifestyle. And we all have our stories. And we all live the never give up lifestyle way.
Since opening late last year in October during the pandemic, Never Give Up has been working hard and putting out an array of t-shirts. And for every shirt purchased, $5 goes to their community project fund, which helps with several beautification projects in the central village of Mangilao.
The Mangilao Children's Baseball Park, the Mangilao Mural, the Mangilao bus stop adoption, as well as the cleanup efforts for the village of Mangilao.
Delgado explains why Mangilao.
We are currently working with the village of Mangilao because we grew up and are rooted in the village. And we hope one day soon to work with the entire island and all its outreach partners.
Down the line, future projects include feeding shelters and supporting outreach programs. To help support their mission with the Community Project Fund, head on over to their shop in Agana Shopping Center located on the second floor within the marketplace. You can also visit their website at www.nevergiveuplifestyle.com.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
Happy January 25th birthday to Jennifer Marie Torres Bay Bermudez, aka Jenny Marie. We hope you have a great birthday, says your shout out, and have many more. You are very special to us, and we love you, from your son and husband, Albert and Alberto Bermudez. Happy birthday number 2 to Vicente J. Canata from Grandma, Mom, Dad, and the siblings. And Carmelyn Napati, we love you and hope you enjoy your day, from Kian, Sage, Kaylee, Ava Rose, Keenan, and Carter, who all say they love you.
That's going to do it for us here on Primetime. I'm Hannah Devonzo. Thanks for watching and good night.
Hello and Hafa Day, everybody. I'm Jason Salas, and welcome to Health, Home, and Lifestyle right here on KUAM. We have a bunch of